Hi, I'm Mo of Ezeebeady. Today I'm going to show you how to make this necklace. I've called it Romantic Roses. It's got a centrepiece, and then along the chain it's got basically little roses. That's what I think they look like. I know it's the classic little bow tie, crystal bow tie sections, but I'll show you how to make these and the pendant, and then I'll also show you how I've put the chain on. Okay, I've made this one a little long for the person it was made for, so I've got to readjust that. So let's get going. I'll just show you the components that you need and we'll get going. Right, for this necklace I'm using 8/0 seed beads. These are in white shiny. I'm using 6/0 seed beads, also in white shiny. I'm using peridot 4mm Bicones by Swarovski. I'm using light rose 4mm Bicones by Swarovski. I've got 12 3mm Bicones also in light rose by Swarovski, and I also have 11/0 seed beads. These are duracoat galvanised gold. They're Mayuki. I've got an arm span and a half of thread threaded onto a size 10 beading needle. The thread I'm using is Beadsmith Fireline 0.006. It would probably work with a thicker thread, because it's not that tight, so you'll be fine. Right, so the main part of the pendant, we need the 6/0 seed beads, and we're going to put these onto your thread. And take them down to the end, and I'm going to go through these again. Hold on to your tail and pull that through. Tie 3 good knots in there, and you can pull this nice and tight. So get your working thread and go through 2 or 3 more beads just to move away from your knot. Don't worry about it not being round just yet. You can pop it back into a round if you want, but as we work it'll go there anyway. Pull your knot into the seed bead, and I'm just going to go through another couple. Right, so we're going to pop a seed bead in between each of these 6/0. So pick up an 11/0 seed bead and go through your next 6/0. Okay, pick up an 11 and go through your next 6/0. An 11 and go through your next 6/0. Pick up an 11 and through your next 6/0. Again an 11 and through the next 6/0. Last one, pick up an 11, go through the next 6. I'm going to go through the 11 that we put on first and through the next 6, so we're coming out just before the 11 there. Give that a pull, and this is what we have so far. Right, pick up your first bicone, your 4mm and an 11/0, and set these down to the end. I'm going to skip that 11 there and go back up your 4mm, skip the 11 that we put in the centre and go through the 6/0. Okay, so again we're going to do that again. So pick up a 4mm and an 11/0, take these down to the end, skip your 11, go through the 4mm, skip that 11 we put in the middle and through the 6/0. So repeat this all the way around, so it's a 4mm and an 11/0. Take these down, skip your 11, back up your 4mm, skipping the 11 in the middle and going through the 6/0. Pick up your 4mm bicone, an 11/0 seed bead, and take these down. Skipping the 11, back up your 4mm, skipping that 11 in the middle and into the 6/0. Your 4mm bicone and 11/0 seed bead. Take these down. Skipping your 11, back up your 4mm and through the 6. And this is your last one, so we're picking up your 4mm bicone and 11/0 seed bead. Skipping your 11/0, back up your 4mm and into the 6 that we're originally coming out of. And this is what we have so far. So I'm going to go back up the 4mm here that I'm right against, and if you go through the 11 at the top, don't worry, because we do need to go through it anyway. And if you haven't gone through it, then you need to go through it. So I'm going through the 11 out there. And now we're going to start picking up our 3mm bicones. So I've got a 3mm, pick up a 4mm of your second colour and your 3mm. So that's what I've got. I'm coming out of this 11/0 here, I'm going to go across and go into this one. So we're going to do that all the way around. So we're picking up our 3mm, your second colour 4mm and your 3mm. Skip the gap and go into the next 11/0. Pick up your 3mm bicone, your second 4mm bicone and your 3mm bicone. Skipping the gap and into the next 11/0 at the top. Your 3mm bicone your 4mm bicone and your 3mm bicone, and into the next 11/0 at the top. So it's your 3mm, your 4mm and your 3mm, skipping the gap and into the next 11/0. Just make sure these are kept fairly tight, but don't worry too much. Pick up your 3mm, your 4mm and your last 3mm, and into the first 11 that we first came out of. Now I'm going to go through the next 3 beads as well. Okay, pull it in the direction of the circle, and I'm going to go through the middle 11/0 there and the next 3mm bicone. So I'm coming out just before the 4mm. Okay, pull these tight, and now we're going to pick up 5 11/0 seed beads. I'm going to skip this 4mm and go into the 3mm, the 11/0, and again come out just before the 4mm. So this is what we have. So again we need 5 11/0 seed beads, skipping the 4mm and going through the next 3 beads, which is my 3mm, 11/0 and 3mm, coming out just before the next 4mm. Tying that up. 5 11/0 seed beads, skipping the 4mm and through the next 3 beads. So again coming out just before the 4mm. Five 11/0s, skip the 4mm and through the next 3 beads. Coming out just before the next 4mm. Five 11/0 seed beads, skip the 4mm and through the next 3 beads. Pick up 5 11/0 seed beads. This is your last one. So I'm going to go through the next, skip the next 4mm and through the next 3 beads. If you want to, go up the 2 11s as well that you've just added. If not, we'll do it separately. In fact, I'll do it separately. So I've gone through the next 3 beads again. Okay, so I'm going to make these into little picots now. So I'm going to go up the next 2 11s, skipping this middle one and go back down the next 2 11s. So that's made a little picot there. So through these 3 beads again, so your 3mm, 11/0 and 3mm, I'm going to go up 2 of my seed beads, skip the middle one and back down the next 2 seed beads. Okay, see how that one hasn't gone down? So we just need to persuade the thread to go around and that 11 ought to pop up. Give it a pull and it forms your little picot. So through the next 3 beads, which is your 3mm, 11/0 and 3mm, up your next 2 seed beads, skip your middle one and down the next 2 seed beads, making sure you get your picot. Through the next 3 beads, up your next 2 seed beads, skip the middle one and down the next 2. Through your next 3 beads, which is your 3mm, 11/0 and 3mm, go up your 2 seed beads, skip the middle one and down your next 2. Go through your 3mm, 11/0 and 3mm, and this is your last one, so we're back up 2 11/0s, skipping your middle one and back down 2. Right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go right round these beads again, so back through them 3mm, 11/0 and 3mm, and I'm going to go right round all 5 of these seed beads, because your picot isn't going to move now, it's fine. Do it bit by bit if you want. This will just stiffen it up nicely and strengthen your work. Right, so once you've gone right round, we need to be coming out of the one of the picots. So I'll just make my way across to the next one. It doesn't matter which one you choose. So I'm just coming out of this middle bead of the picot. I'm just going to add my dangle. So this is what we have so far. Right, so we're coming out of the bottom hole of your picot, So we need to pick up 3 11s and your drop. Pick up another 3 11s. So I've got 3 11s, my drop, and 3 11s. I'm coming out this side here of the picot, so I'm going to go around and go back through. So I've just made a loop. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I added this little picot here. Basically, you know how to add picots now. So if you want this picot on, I'll show you, and if not, just go around these beads 2 or 3 times to give it strength. So I'm coming out of the bottom of the picot here, and I'm going to go into the first bead that I've just added. Miss this middle bead. I'm going to go into the next bead and straight through into my drop. You don't have to go straight through into the drop, it doesn't matter. And you can see the little picot has formed there. So I'm going into the next seed bead. I'm going to skip this middle one and go into the next one. And I might as well go straight through into the original bead I was first coming out of. And that's how you add your picot. So I'm just going to go around these a couple more times, just to give them strength. You can go around your picot now, it's going to stay put, so it's absolutely fine. Go around as many times as you're happy with. So I'm just going to go one more. And I'm quite happy with that, so I'm coming out of this bottom picot again, and what I'm going to do now is just make my way up so I can add the crystal into the middle. So I'm going back up these 2 seed beads here, and I'm going through my 3mm as well there. And I'm going to go through, if I can, go through the 11. If you can't manage to get into that 11, don't worry too much. Just go straight up this 4mm here. But that's where we're heading now. We're going up this 4mm, so we're heading back into the middle. And I'm going to go into my 6/0, and I've gone through the 11 as well this time. Okay, so now we need to pick up a 4mm. It's up to you which colour you want to put in the middle, but I'm putting in my green. So I'm coming out the top hole here of this 11, so I'm going to go across into the next 11, dead opposite, as if I'm going round, and I'm going down, and then back through your 4mm, and then back up your 11. Go around these 2 or 3 times just to give it strength. Okay, and now I'm going back into the 11 and I've gone through the 6, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go right round these centre beads again. So I'm going through the 11s and the 6s. And when you get to the 11 that you've added your 4mm on, make sure you don't miss it. You want to go through it to bring it back down again. It won't pop down properly, but it'll be fine. And then go right around these. Go around 2 or 3 times if you want, or just the once. Right, and the last one I'm going to go through is my 6. And I'm going back up the 4. Back up the pink 4. And I'm going to start and put some knots in now. Okay, I'm going to go into the 3 that I'm right next to, just the 3, and I'm going to put knots in these 4mm. I've gone through the 3 there. I'm just going to pop a knot in there. So I'm just catching my thread that's under there, and I'm going to put a knot in. And then take that knot into the 4mm. Okay, I'm going to make my way across to the next 4mm and put another knot in. So just catch your thread. And put your knot in. Put as many knots in as you feel happy with. Obviously the more the merrier. I'll just do one more. Managed to get hold of my thread. And then I'm just going to work my way self away from the knot before I cut my thread. Right, so that is your pendant piece. Okay, cut your tails off. Cut that thread and then your tail. And there you go. That's your centerpiece. Right, for these centre bows, I'm just going to show you how to make these. You can either call it a bow or a rose. For each one, you need 4mm bicones in the pink, 2 4mm bicones in the green, 1 8/0 seed bead in the white. This is the same colour that you will use for the rest of your chain, and 16 11/0 seed beads. Now we need 6 or 8 or even more, it's up to yourself, of these bows. So I find it easier just to pull off as much thread as you're comfortable working with, and that just saves you threading your needle several times. Okay, so I've threaded my needle. I'm going to pick up the green, a gold seed bead, a pink, your 8/0 seed bead, a pink, your 11/0 seed bead, your green bicone, an 11/0 seed bead and a pink bicone. So that's the sequence we've picked up. Take these down, leave a long enough tail to either thread away or make sure you can at least tie a knot in. I find threading away is better in this case. So I'm coming out this side of this seed bead. I'm going to skip these beads here and go straight back into the seed bead. So that's the first half of your little rose or bow, whichever way you want to call it. Pick up your next pink and an 11/0 seed bead. Take these down and then I'm going to tie a knot. Pull it fairly tight because we want this quite tight. Put in 3 good knots. And that's what we have. So get your needle again, hang on to your tail, and I'm going to go back into this 4mm and just pull that knot into the 4mm. Just ties it for you. Now, yes, it would be easier just to do a figure 8, but if you do a figure 8 it tends to twist like that. So I'm going to stick, when I'm coming up this side, I'm going to stick to this side, and again when I go down that side I'm going to stick to that side. So I'm on this side at the moment. I'm going to go into my 11/0, down my 4mm pink and into my 8/0, and I'm going to go back up my 4mm and through the 11/0. Pick up 6 of your seed beads, go around the 4mm bicone at the end and into the next seed bead and down your 4mm pink. Go into your 8/0, and remember we're coming up this side now, so I'm going up the 4mm bicone. If you can catch that 11/0 at the end, please do so. Pull that tight and then go through your 11/0 if you haven't done already. Pick up 6 11/0 seed beads, go around this 4mm and into the next seed bead. Go down your 4mm bicone again, and if you can go through, straight through your middle bead. And that's what we have. That's the basis of our little rose. And I'm just going to go around these beads again. Just remember which direction you're going in. So it's back up my 4mm. Like I said, try and stick to the outside as if you're doing a kind of circle as opposed to a figure 8. It just helps it not to twist. As long as you've gone around these 11/0 around the outside a couple of times, you should be fine. So once you've gone around them a couple of times, we're going to tie off. Just remember to pull it each time you go around. I do like this Fireline, but it's so good. It's very good for threading a needle, but I do find it rather slippery. Just don't seem to grip onto itself. Right, so I'm going back through my middle bead. I'm going up this 4mm here, and I'm just going to go through one 11/0 there, because if you remember, this is the 11/0 we added when we did our first part of this. Because if you remember, your thread went from this seed bead into your 4mm, so you know there's a thread connecting there, and that's where I'm going to tie my knot, and that way I can put my knot into that middle bicone. So I'm just catching that thread. I'm going to put a knot in there. Just watch it goes in the right place. And then through that middle bicone. And it's gone. I'm coming out this 4mm bicone now, and if you remember, your thread was connected to this 11/0 here. So I'm going down that 11/0 through the 4mm and through the centre bead. Just remember to stick to the same side. So I need to come up this side here, up the 4mm bicone, and through one 11/0 seed bead. And I'm going to put one more knot in there, just the same way as I did the other side. Just getting my tail tangled a bit, I'll just sort that out. So I'm coming out of this 11/0 here, and I'm going to put a knot in, because I know that thread is connected. So I've just caught my thread, and wrap my thread around my needle, put my thumb over it to hold it. Before I get all the way down, watch where it's going, and then take the knot into the bicone, and there it goes. Because I'm coming out this bicone here, and I'm going to go down that one seed bead, I'm basically just going to work my thread away from my knot now. So I've gone through the bicone and the centre bead. I'm going to go up the next bicone and through one seed bead, and through the 4mm in the middle again. Okay, so now if you've done what I suggested and got a long thread, what we need to do is not cut it all the way down, leave a couple of inches and then cut your thread there. That way it just keeps your tail safe, the end safe, for when we're threading on the rest of the beads for the chain. Put a needle on your tail. We'll just need to move your tail away from the original knot. So my tail's coming out of that 4mm here. I'm just going to go down that one seed bead, through the 4mm and the centre bead. Again, making sure you stick to the same side that you're working at. So I'm going up the 4mm through one seed bead. If you end up going through two, don't worry too much, you can just backtrack. It depends whether you're going to be able to. So I've went through 2, so I'm just going back through that one and then through the 4mm, and then take the needle off. Okay, so that's one of your bows or roses. Now you need an even number of these. You need 6 or 8. It's up to you, depends how many you fancy doing. I'll be doing 8, so when you've done 8 of them, come back to me and I'll show you how to make all your connections. Right, so I've got my 8 roses made and my centrepiece, and I've got a few white 11/0. If you haven't got them, you could just use your gold. I did forget to mention that we needed them, I do apologise. And I've got an extra 4 3mm bicones. I've got 8/0 seed beads, that's the same as we used in the centre here. I've got my needle and 2 arm spans of thread. So I'm going to show you how to make your connection. And I've also got my clasp and 2 thread protectors, thread guardians, and a jump ring. The first pieces we need are your 3mm bicones, your 11/0 whites or golds, again if you haven't got them. So I've got my needle and I've got my component, the main pendant, and I'm going to go through this seed here at the end of the picot, because we're going to have it dangling from that one and that one so it hangs nicely. Take your thread down, leave a fair amount of a tail. So I'm going to go around this bead and go straight back through it. So I've made like a loop there. I'm going to go around these 2 or 3 times. Don't forget to keep hold of your tail because we don't want to pull that off. If you would prefer, we'll put, well actually I am going to put a knot in next time I get round to my tail. So just go around these once and then put a knot in. Don't know, I need to stop there because that's where my thread is. So I've gone round twice and now I'm putting a knot in. You need enough tail to be able to thread your tail away and tie these fairly tight. So now I've got my knot in there, I'm going to go around these one more time. With it being the connection, we do need fairly strong, so just make sure we go around. So I've gone around it 3 times in total now, and I need to head out to the middle of these 2 gold beads here. So coming out in between them 2 gold beads. I'm going to pick up a gold bead in 11/0, one of your 8/0, an 11 gold and 8, 11 gold and 8, and 11 gold. Take these down, and now we're going to start adding our roses. Okay, you've got 4 beads at each side, and we want to go up through the centre. So we have 4 at each side, and you're going up the centre. Doesn't matter which side you go up first. And then through all them seed beads and into your 4mm bicone. And if it goes straight through into the middle bead, that's fine, because we need to be there. Oops. And again, as when we were making these, stick to the same side. So I'm coming up this side, so I'm going to go back up the 4mm on that side. You may notice I didn't stick to my own advice and I cut my threads off, so on these bows. And then when you get back to the other side, we need to go through 4 of these seed beads. So we're going to come out of the middle of these seed beads. So that's what we've got. Pick up an 11/0 gold, a 6, 11, a 6, 11, a 6, and 11. Take these down. Get your next bow or rose, and again go through the centre. So you've got 4 at each side and go up the 11/0. And again, sticking to the same side, make your way across to the other end of the rose or the bow. And then back through your 11s, and we just need to go through 4 of these. So basically we're just going to repeat this until we've used 4 of these bows. So I'll pick up an 11, a 6, 11, 6, 11, 6, 11. Get your next bow, rose, and I've left my tails on this one. Work out where your centre is and go up the 4 beads, 4 11s, and work your way down to the other end, sticking to the same side. And through your 4 11/0. So that's 3. Pick up an 11, 6, 11, 6, sorry, they're 8s. Pick up an 11 and 8, 11 and 8, 11, 8 and 11. I do apologise if I've been saying 6, they are 8/0. Take these down and we'll put in the last bow on this side. So again, get your centre and go up the 11s. Through your 4, through your centre bead. Through your next 4. And then through 4 seed beads at the other side. So now we've added all 4 of one side, and we need to just finish off the chain to the length you need it. So we'll just repeat the sequence of an 11, an 8, an 11 and an 8, and just keep going until you get to the length that you need. And when you get as many on as you want, just come back to me and we'll continue from there, and I'll show you how to add a clasp. Right, so I've got where I need to be. I've added all my my beads. Just give these a quick check over to make sure you've not put any in there that shouldn't be, or you've not missed any. And at the very end, we're going to put on 2 seed beads. Pick up your wire protector and go through your wire protector, your thread protector, whatever, I never know what to call it. Go down the other side, now we don't need to pull this too tight because, like I've said before, you don't want to pucker it up, and we do need a bit of movement in there. Decide which side you want your clasp at, and I know I need mine at this side, so I'm going to put my clasp on now. So go through your clasp, slide that onto your thread protector, and pick up another seed bead. Make sure that thread stays around your thread protector. Can be a bit fiddly trying to hold on to everything, but it's doable. So pick up another 11 up there. So we've got 2 at this side and 1 at this side, and we're going to go back up this seed bead here and up your thread protector. So I've come out of this seed bead here, and I've gone round through that second seed bead that is right against my thread protector and back through my thread protector. I'm just going to put my thumb over it while I pull it up, and I'm going to go around these 2 or 3 times to make sure it's strong. So back down the other side and through my seed bead, and then back up the next seed bead. Don't forget to go through your clasp each time. I'm just going to do that one more time. If you would like to go around any more than that, please do. So now I'm going to go back down that seed bead there, and work your way down, back down to your first rows. So making sure you don't miss any beads on your way down. So just work your way back down your thread. Okay, so I've made my way back down and I'm coming out just at the seed bead that I added when I went to go the rest of the chain. Now you can see which way you went in. Okay, you can see my thread is at this side of the bow. Okay, and so we need to go the other side so that we make that even. So we're going up the next 4 11/0 seed beads. When you've put on this chain, you've got to remember not to pull it too tight because we don't want it to pucker up when we want movement. So again, anyway, we've come up these 3 and I'm going up the 4th and into the 4mm bicone. Into the centre bead, not forgetting to stay to the correct side. Back into the 4mm there, and then around the 4 seed beads on the edge. And again, even at this side, you can see which side your thread is. It's going in this side, so we need to, because we're on this side and the other side anyway, we just go straight back up the next set of beads, being careful not to miss any. And once again, when we get to the next bow, I don't keep calling it bow, it's a rose, it's my rose. So the seed bead that we put on, and just check which direction you need to go in. You can see my thread came up this side, so I need to go down this side here. So I'll go down the seed beads and around the rose. Remembering to stick to the same side. It's more important on these because of when we get to the end to make it even. So around the outside of the beads, 11/0, and then back up your chain section. Again, being careful not to skip any beads. Just check which direction you need to go in. Sticking to the same side on your rose. and along your seed beads. And then down your next chain section. Check which direction you need to go in. If you do get lost, if you just dropped it like I just did then and you're in the middle, the easiest way to check is you know which side you need to be at to come back out, and my connection already is at this side, so I need to go down this side here to make the connection. So now we're heading back to the pendant. I'm coming out with that bead of them three, just the top triangle, just that one, because once again we need to make sure we're going the correct direction, because we came out this side, so we need to go back down this side. And that makes your connection. So we're back to where we started. Right, so what I'm going to do, because I've still got plenty of thread, I'm just going to make my way back down my chain, because I'm going to strengthen it, because this is for a client. So, just like I said, just make your way back down the same way you went down in the first place. It doesn't really matter which side of these bows you go down this time, but I'd still stick to the same side. And then just start making your knots as you go down. So once I get in there, every knot there will be tight because there's a knot in there from when I started it. Be careful not to catch my tail in there. So I'm working my way back up. Going around these again also helps strengthen it, and back up. And there's no reason that you couldn't put your knots in between your bows as well, so it'll hide them nicely in there. The other option you could do is cut off enough thread to do both sides, and when you get back down to your pendant you could just go straight across and up, but if anything was to happen to either side you'd have to replace the whole lot, so it's pros and cons really. So what in fact I'm going to do there is, as that bead's fairly big, the 8/0, I'm going to put a knot in there. So I'm just coming up my 4mm and I'm just going to pop a knot in there, and then that A-taut will hide it for me. Of course, making sure your thread is going to go in the right place is always a good idea. And it being stubborn. There we go. Pull that knot in. So just keep going all the way down as far as your thread will allow, and then cut your thread off. And if you've left your tails on your bows, sorry, if you've left your tails on your roses, cut them off as well. Now the reason I left them off is if I'd have gone around these beads like I have done, you risk pulling your tail out as your thread goes back through. So if you leave your tail on, you know exactly where it is, and all you have to do is cut them off at the end. Ow. I'm starting to get a bit tight up here now, so I think I'm not going to risk that was okay actually, so I'll keep going. It was just an awkward bead. If you do leave your tails on, just make sure you do know where they're going. Just keep an eye on things. Put last knot in there. Put my way up. seem to have plenty of thread left, so I'll just keep going. So I've gone through all of my roses again, so I'm just heading back up towards the end of the chain, and I've got enough thread to go right to the end of the chain. I'm going to go around my clasp one more time and then head back down and just put a couple of knots in there, and then cut your thread, and that's one side done. Now the other side, you do exactly the same. I suggest you count the beads on your chain so that you know exactly how many you need to put on the other end, and before you go around your clasp a couple of times, just count them again. It's just so that you know it's exactly right. Okay, so come back to me when you've done. Well, there's no need to come back to me, you're done once you put your second chain on. I'll just show you mine when I'm done. So see you in a few minutes. Right, so there we go, I've added both sides now, and I've put my clasp on the end. You can put a jump ring on there if you want, but I haven't bothered this time because I think it works perfectly well without one. So I suppose if you want to put a extension chain on there, that wouldn't hurt. Just put a little bead on it as well to make it pretty. So there you go, that's your romantic roses necklace. I'm Monique of Ezeebeady. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. You can find me on Facebook, just search for Ezeebeady. I'll also put a link at the bottom of this tutorial. It'd be lovely to see any of your creations on there, what you've made from my tutorials. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. Bye.